Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start drilling now. In a little bit of downtime, I went ahead and did a small pilot hole on each of the heads just to go ahead and get them ready. For these holes, the drilling doesn't need to be exact. For position. Okay, now let's see if it's far in enough. There are 5 of these magnets, excuse me, and that first one goes entirely inside of the hole. So that means it's deep enough. We can move on to the next one for now. I apologize if the camera autofocuses on other things occasionally, or if I start doing something out of frame. Okay, same as before, let's test to see how good the hole is. And same as before, it's mostly completely covered in that hole. So we can move on to the next one again. Gonna use my knife here and clean off that excess flash. Alright, and on to the last one. Now, the reason I'm using these smaller magnets on the heads is because they don't require an incredibly strong hold to keep them in place, since they're going to be elevated, kind of going like that. They all stay in place much easier than everything else on the entire model. So I can easily get away with using weaker magnets on them, as I learned in the first and second of these kits that I put together. The difference between the first and the second, though, is I learned that I needed much stronger magnets for the arms and the hands, which at some point I'll be showing a difference of, because it's a major difference. Alright, and here on the last one we see that once again it looks pretty flush. So we're done with that part, and at this point the big guy himself is pretty solid, so we can go into that now. Now the reason that I drilled onto that far point is because, for like all the heads, is because the most inset point right about there is where it would connect with the neck. And that's a very, very easy spot in which to drill a hole. So that's what we're going to be doing. Same as before, just getting a little pilot hole ready. And of course, the main reason for the pilot holes is because if you don't have them and you're not very, very strong at keeping the drill in place, it can kind of swivel off to other directions, and that will produce unwanted results majority of the time, especially on smooth, beveled, or rounded surfaces. You really don't want that happening. If you need the magnet to be, or whatever you're drilling, if you need it to be in an exact location, then doing a pilot hole is something I'd highly recommend. Otherwise, the entire process can be a bit of a mess. Okay, so it's almost ready for the magnet to go in. Just a little bit more. Got some junk in there still. Okay, that looks pretty flush to me. So, there's a couple ways that I know people do magnetize things. And one I've caught up on is marking the bottom of the magnets so that you can remember which polarity to use. So I'm going to use one of my first ones to put together. In fact, the first one put together. There's a noticeable mess going on over here, and he has some support pins and holes over here as well. One moment.